We are back. GYGB will report. Brief hiatus, man. But yo, we are back just in time. I'm your co-host, Roberto Flack. My man, Coltrane, up in Philly. What is goody, my dude?
Oh man, we finally got some stuff to talk about. Like, like we don't have to grasp for straws and just try to, make up stuff and woulda, coulda, shouldas. Like, we actually got legitimate boxing chatter tonight.
Right. No, absolutely. And also at the point of what's been a constant in the last couple of years in boxing, man, right. Fights on the horizon, I guess, now that we didn't see coming at all. And, we're going to get into that. But obviously, the fight that took place over the weekend, one of the only, I want to say, like, summer fights we were, I guess, intrigued about. Mikey Garcia, Robert Easter Jr. We love unification fights. So we got one at 135. IBF, WBC, and look, man, we didn't do an actual prediction video or even really a show for this fight, but all of us on board had Mikey winning, like beating Robert Easter Jr. Going into the fight. I think some of y'all said he was gonna knock Robert Easter out. I picked him to win like a lopsided decision, and that's kind of what we got. You know what I mean? But what's funny about this whole situation, though, as far as this fight is concerned, man, I don't remember the last time that a fight that we were looking forward to got overshadowed by a fight that's on the horizon possibly this December, which is kind of ill, man. Like, considering this was a lightweight unification. But any case, I'll throw it to you real quick, man, before we get into
we'll get that was like
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that was like we got hit with a blind side left hook with this news that's just came down the pipe right before the fight. Ironically, jumped off Saturday. I mean, listen, nobody here thought Robert Easter really had a shot at beating Mikey Garcia. I know Rodadad called for a knockout. I was with you. I thought it would go to the cards. But all that being said, listen, man, I got to give Robert Easter some credit here. Although he was thoroughly beaten, he had moments in the fight. And, most people feel Mikey Garcia is a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter. So there's levels to this, I think it had more so to do with Mikey Garcia talent than, taking a swipe at Robert Easter. It's just that Mikey Garcia is just that good. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that early on, the first round, he came out establishing the jab. He worked behind the jab. The first couple rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Then the third round, you saw Mikey Garcia kind of pressing him and then took the jab away. And then Robert Easter kind of ran out of ideas. But that being said, Robert Easter never quit. Like he still made a conscious effort to try to fight. Where with Broner, once Mikey Garcia pressed him, he flat out quit. And, my bad, it actually happened after he got dropped, Robert Easter. Was it right? He got caught with the right hand, right?
Yeah.
Kind of lunging in, coming in forward, got caught. You kind of saw it happening. I mean, listen, man, Mikey Garcia, I told you this, like, the last show we did. I said, he's got, like, the best timing I've seen in boxing in quite some time. Cotto had impeccable timing. Juan Manuel Marquez, these guys, they may look slow on film, and then you fight them. Floyd was on record saying that, like, Cotto timing is a lot quicker than what people think it is. He's a lot faster in the ring than he looks on paper, or on video, rather. That's the same thing I felt with Mikey Garcia. Like, he looks slow and flat-footed, but the dude timing, like, he got picture-perfect timing. Like, when you throw a punch, you best to believe he's probably going to land a punch while you throw a punch, and his punch is going to land on you flush, because he's just a perfect counter puncher.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what we saw in the.
He's a good fighter. He's a really good fighter.
Yeah, he is. He's very solid. Like, just one of these guys that we always say, like, it's hard to pinpoint what he does great, but he just does a lot of things really, really good, you know, where everything's balanced out, you know. So pretty much, man, I mean, he beats Robert Easter unanimously. But again, like what we talked about leading into this fight, man, or really leading into the discussion is not in recent years have I seen a fight that a proposed fight overshadow what many consider a top level fight for the year when you talk about unification fights and, you know, things of that nature. So right off the bat, man, something that you referred to as like a left hook. We heard talks about this, but like I always describe as like tongue in cheek.
Right.
You know, you're like, yeah, you know, I want to fight this guy, I want to fight that guy. Look, we were hearing back in the day about Roy Jones dropping down so much weight to go fight Oscar De La Hoya.
Right.
And things like that. I mean, like it's we've heard this before, but very seldom does it happen. You know, like
I mean, Pacquiao moving up to fight De La Hoya. You could throw that in there.
Yeah, you know, and look, a lot of us were like, yo, what? You know?
Yeah, right. We thought it was crazy.
Now, in hindsight, we can draw concessions as it relates to both guys when, you know, the conditions they were in when they fought. But
I was going to say, yeah, you got to factor that in there.
The last time we've seen something like this, and look, what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, man, is Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. looks as if might be happening in December, as crazy as this sounds. You know, lightweight unified champion against the IBF welterweight champion. And I can't remember the last time that actually has happened, where like two champions from different divisions. Well, Kell Brook did it. Well,
I was going to say that. Remember, that was the most recent one.
Which segues into like what we were talking about, like through the chats, like, you know, the last like week or so when we were starting news. But this is kind of I mean, it almost mirrors what Kell Brook.
It is.
He was
same scenario. I mean, you got a guy that's calling out the most physical, imposing guy in his division, and one of the best in his division. Kell Brook did the same thing with Triple G. Now, one could argue that Kell Brook is even more in his respective prime than Triple G was when Kell Brook fought him. We all know how that ended up turning out. Listen, let me just say this real quick, and we'll get into this whole thing. This is just my opinion. I know my compadres here, they're a little bit more believable. Listen, now Mikey Garcia said it. He's fighting. You heard it. He said, this is what we want. You heard Robert Garcia, his big brother, his trainer, say, listen, we would rather him kind of tread water lightly and move up and do some other things. And we'll get into these other possible scenarios. But Mikey Garcia pretty much has control of his career. Not pretty much. He does have control of his career. I commend him from his business module. He does what he wants. You know, he technically doesn't have a promoter. He's managed by Al Heyman. Because that card last Saturday was promoted by Richard Schaefer, right?
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Right.
So he's like a free agent, kind of doing what he wants to do. So I commend him for that. This here, though, there's a lot of question marks here. The one question mark being is, you're moving up to fight a guy. Now, Mikey Garcia is in the prime of his career. Errol Spence is not really a draw like that, where we forgot about Amir Khan moving up to fight Canelo, which, okay, Canelo's the top of the food chain. Like, if Errol Spence had the type of drawing power like Canelo, then, okay, I get it. I understand it. And I understand the whole moxie, and I know some boxing fans are like, well, this is the way it should be. That's true. But there's weight classes for a reason. Again, Errol Spence is not just some welterweight. Like, this fight can go off he could take Mikey Garcia off the rails, literally and figuratively. I mean, he could do we saw what happened to Kell Brook. He's never been the same. He's not going to never be the same again. When he fought Triple G, he had the eye socket broken. Then he fights Errol Spence right after that. I'm just wondering, and time will reveal all that we're saying here. I'm just wondering if they're using Errol Spence's name as a marketing employee for potentially maybe or bargaining chip, maybe to do some other thing. I don't know, man. Like if he takes this fight, I mean, I salute him because I mean you got to have some brass ones to do this. I think this because it's a mismatch. Like good as Mikey Garcia is, he has no business in the ring that far. Now they're eventually going to move up to weight, but he just fought at 135. You're going to move up to fight that guy, the guy that nobody wants to fight, and I just see bad things happen if that fight takes. I think it's like a 6-round fight. I think Big Brother Robert stops
there he goes.
He
is joined.
There you go.
He is joined.
He was in a war.
Yeah, son, ROD, speak up. Wait, hold on. Are you on mute? Hold on.
I think he got the screensaver joined up.
Hold up. Trying to unmute him. Hold up.
I'm texting him now. There you go.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I said he in the middle of a war right now.
Oh, yo, listen. This war is crazy between Corey and myself, man. I've never seen anything like it.
Yo, this is the first time we've had all of us on the show, man.
Right, all on one thread.
Yo, that's
all here on one thread.
So why do I only see screensavers with trains stuff?
I think that's just how it's set up. Like you see us as we talk. Like you see me on the channel, right?
Yeah, I don't see train. All I see is like 3 twins. That's all I see, twins. Oh, now I see you. Now I see you. Now I see you. All right, so go ahead. What was y'all talking about?
No, we're talking about the fights, man. Well, this whole Mikey Spence situation. I mean, look, well, first let's officially welcome ROD to the new and improved GYGB podcast. So, welcome, ROD Diggity. So, look, man, we're very, very likely getting Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. Now, Train just threw, what some are thinking too. It's not just Train. My man kind of told me this. He has a similar idea of what Train's talking about as far as using Spence's name as leverage for him to fight Lomachenko instead. But what's your take on this whole fiasco now?
Well, I mean, they always say there's no future without a history. And when you look at it, you look no further than what happened with Kell Brook and Triple G. I mean, I know you had mentioned that there was a point in time where Triple G didn't have a dance partner because someone pulled out and Kell Brook stepped in and they were like, no, are you serious? Like, yeah. And I think that what's happening is we've learned over the course is that Triple G really had no dance partners. Now, what's so interesting about this 147 division is that they have tons of dance partners for Errol Spence. None of them are willing to engage.
Yep.
So now you have a situation where Mikey's like, hey, I'll fight him. I mean, this could be, as Train called, a money grab, or it could be a situation where Mikey really believes that he can beat him. But whatever it is, I'm happy that he's stepping up. Now, the other thing you asked me about Lomachenko, I think that the Lomachenko thing is interesting because it's more doable. We can see that fight more. We're like, okay, some people have called that a 50-50 fight. Everyone I've spoken to has called the Errol Spence Mikey fight, basically, they called it child abuse. Yeah, no pun intended.
He's so little, dude.
He is, and it's funny. Yeah, and it's funny because you know what, like Roberto has stated earlier, Mikey may be too big for that division, but the one thing we have to remember, not taking anything away from Easter's 5'11". That's 6 foot to me. So when you think about it, I mean, it's a tallest opponent he fought. Errol Spence is not. I mean, if I want to intrigue you guys and kind of sell it, Errol Spence is not 5'11".
No, he's not.
All right.
No, he's not.
All right. So he can get hit, and he don't move a lot either. So there you have it.
Yeah, man. I mean, no, go ahead.
Lomo's gonna be different. See that Lomo thing, man. Like I used to think after watching that last Lomo fight that it would be different, but then Train was with me too.
No,
but after what I saw, after what I saw on Saturday, man, like Lomo got too much geometry, trigonometry, algebra, and whatever on it for this guy. The angles are gonna be there. He gonna be hitting wind. I was just really disappointed with Mikey overall, man. I really thought highly of him. I was really disappointed in how he performed on Friday. I mean, it was a shutout. Not a shutout. It was close to it, you know, and I liked how Easter, you know, kind of represented itself because everybody had him as like a 10-1 underdog. So he did very well, and he has to be commended for that. But for what we talking about with Mikey, I didn't really like that because he didn't cut the ring off. He didn't go to the body. He was so slow moving, so more methodical than he had to be. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Easter because Easter represented himself well for a 10-1 underdog. But he can't go in like that fighting against Errol Spence and Lomachenko. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's kind of the thing with the Lomachenko fight is the one where people can they have legitimate arguments as to why Mikey Loma will win, but that's why I guess what all of us are trying to figure out is what good can come out of this for Mikey outside of him hitting a grand slam and actually beating Errol Spence, which is like very unlikely. But what's the best case scenario? Because here's like another theory I have with Mikey is I don't know if he's even making 135 healthy anymore, man. Because apparently, like, he had to haul out of there after the weigh-in, and like they were saying, like Robert Garcia was like, "Yo, man, he needed to get something to eat real quick." I'm like, "Well, damn, man," because remember he had 2 fights at 140 already, after he won that title, and then he came back to 135, man. So remember, Mikey back then at 126 was having trouble making featherweight, then he was having trouble making 130, and then 135. So maybe for him, it's like, well, I want to go to welterweight because he's been talking about it. But see, I guess with all of us, it's like, all right, well, what we were talking about earlier today, like, it would make more sense if he targeted the Danny Porter winner than going straight to Errol Spence. As far as, like, even if you were going to tread lightly into the division, where some people would even still say, yo, go fight like Berto. Or go fight one of these guys that's
Devin
like
Alexander, one of those kind of guys.
Who, funny enough, they're fighting each other.
Right, yeah. I know.
But yeah, man, this is now the other side of it too, man. This thing with Showtime, man. Like Showtime, in general, they've had like a funny year, because we forget, like we did see Luis Ortiz and Wilder. We got that.
Right.
The Leo Santa Cruz, Abner Mars, too. That was a good fight. But, every year produces, like, a standout. HBO and Showtime have their standouts, and I guess this year, Canelo Triple G2 is their HBO's. Showtime doesn't really have one or has had one. Because, look, whatever people want to say, they were a part of the whole Mayweather-McGregor fiasco. So that publicized Showtime big time. But like in 2018, man, it's been kind of like the ushering in of the new generation, which we were saying that last year. But think about, like, if they make this fight and they put it on CBS, like, I think to them, man, like, they're trying to make the last bit of, like, big fights they can make under that umbrella before inevitably they're going to have to start doing business, man, because it's like the well's running dry. So that's part of it, man. But, like, I'm just trying to see where this is, like, a benefit for Mikey Garcia, man, because unless they're paying him, like, a boatload, which I think all of us are thinking that could be the case.
Yeah, but the only thing about the money aspect is like we was talking earlier before ROD jumped on is like it's not like Spence is this
right. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it would make more sense if Spence was this cash guy. Like Danny to me. If Danny Garcia somehow is able to beat Sean Porter, I would get that a lot more. I'm like, okay, that's a winnable fight for Mikey Garcia, and it's a lucrative fight. It's a more lucrative fight for him. So I'm wondering if we won't hear about who, what's next until after. When are they fighting again? September 8th?
September 8th.
Which is like a month away.
Yeah.
Or do you think they're going to sign a fight before that?
I don't know, man. I mean, that's I guess the $1 million question, because to me, man, in the later stages of boxing, as far as like during the internet age, we've seen a lot of times, man, like where there's smoke, there's fire. And
no doubt, yeah.
That's the only reason I'm thinking like. I think it's gonna happen, but I'm of the opinion, like I think all of us are, like, why won't you go fight the Danny Porter winner? And you to your point earlier, Train, like the Garcia fight, Mexico, Puerto Rico, the young prime fighters, and you know what I'm saying? Like there's something to sell there.
Yeah.
With Mikey Garcia still at that point not being a believable welterweight, but against a guy that some even still today don't consider a true welterweight.
That's another thing. These guys are not too far removed from being junior welterweight. So
right. So I don't know, man. ROD, man. So to kind of segue a little bit, we got the announcement. Well, not the announcement. We knew the fight was happening, but
we need to get Corey on here.
Yo, this is gonna be like the whole lineup is gonna be on the bottom. Yo, we saw the press conference today, official. Danny Garcia, Sean Porter live at the Barclays Center, September 8th on Showtime. And it was funny, man. I was showing my wife, like, because she likes Danny Garcia, but I was like, yo, watch this interview? Or, they had the little, she was even like cracking up, man, because it was like they were really trying to like diss each other. And he was like, Puerto Rico. Sean Porter was like, Puerto Rico. They told you to go home, and nobody knows you in Cleveland, Ohio, and this whole night. So they're trying to sell the fight.
Right,
they should have had their pops up there, man, because then that would have been.
Yeah. They're showing. I mean, that's Radada's favorite fathers. Those two, the Porters and the Garcias. This got me RLD.
I can't. Man, they're just all wrong, man. This is all theatrics, man. This is all theatrics, man. Which is funny. I mean, go ahead, Roberto. I know he's going to ask me a question, so go ahead.
No, I was saying, man. Like, so I mean, we were just segueing into this, man. We saw the official press conference and everything. So, like, we've talked about this fight for months. So, like,
right, I know.
Just give me
technically it been happened. It just wasn't signed,
We kind of knew about it, but now that it's like official, right. Give me your take on this fight, man.
So it's funny, man, because again, I always go back to this. Could one of those guys have fought Errol Spence before fighting each other? So let me ask that question first.
Absolutely.
I mean, what you think, Train?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So my point is, so this fight is really, I hate to say it, this fight is kind of really pointless because, I mean, one of those guys could have fought Errol Spence. Now, from a business perspective, it makes sense because, like, I mean, again, were we asking for Sean Porter or Danny to fight? Right. We were asking for Danny to fight Spence. Danny told us that Crawford and Spence need to fight each other. Remember that?
Yeah.
All right. And then Porter you know, he all hugged up with Spence, you know, at his Kell Brook fight. So we like, all right, he don't really want to fight him. You know, he playing go-karts with Crawford. So it to me it's just like, this is why, I mean, I'm going back, but this is why Mikey and Errol Spence is going to take place, because you have top welterweights that don't want to fight Errol Spence. Now, getting to the whole Danny thing, which is what everybody wants to talk about, what I thought about the press conference, like you said, I thought it was forced. I thought it was good, you know, because, you know, first of all, isn't it kind of too late to be calling a September 8th fight?
Well, like I was saying, I don't know if you heard me. I said technically. Now we all been talking about this fight like it was done. How long we been talking about it for now, Roberto?
Like a month at least.
This fight was supposed to happen in June.
No, I think they're relying on the public already, kind of, because it's been out there. They just didn't have, like Roberto said, they just didn't quote unquote sign it. So I think they're just going off of, well, the public kind of already know it was happening anyway. We just now just put an official date to it.
All right. So I guess my point is that, you know, when I look at the press conference, I just look at, you know, two guys being in the element. One thing I was disappointed at was, where are the dads? You know,
that's what I was just saying. Like,
maybe they're saving them later.
We could use Kenny and Crazy Angel right now, you know?
Because they're not good talkers, those two. So
yeah,
they're both kind of dry.
They make good. But you know what's so funny? Porter is such a nice guy. Like, you know, and I don't want to say this because it's almost like how, you know, when people say, oh, this basketball player is so articulate. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, basketball players are not supposed to be articulate? So I want to be careful, because with Porter, the whole thing is when people say he's a nice guy, they say he's a nice guy because he doesn't curse. And I'm like, well, just because you don't curse don't mean you're a nice guy. There's people that don't curse that are mean people. So I think Porter is just, you know, he's just a gentleman. He's cool. And Danny's a gentleman too. So it kind of like made it like what Roberto said, like a dry press conference per se. I mean, it wasn't anything I was expecting. It wasn't like Conor McGregor and Floyd press conference, you know, but I think the fight is going to basically be a totally different story than that press conference. I think you're going to have more action. I think that I believe that, you know, the two clash of styles is going to be good. And I hope that the winner fights Errol Spence. I hope Errol Spence doesn't have to go, as we saw in our post, go on a freshman and senior, you know?
Don't forget about the flute man.
Well, he out making another album. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
so.
But remember, the winner of this fight could potentially lead to another fight with him sometime next year.
Yeah. Well, we'll want to see like the Pied Piper. You know, I don't want to see him, man.
I'm just saying, you can't. You know what I mean? You can't rule it out.
But you know what it does? You know what it does, Train? It again, what it does is, and this is what I'm saying, all you're doing is delaying fighting Errol Spence. And the crazy part about it is they could do this to Triple G, because Triple G, you know, somebody like him, he close to 40. Like, Errol Spence is still young, so they could do this all they want. They really just hurting themselves. I mean, at this point in time, like, what are you going to do? What are you waiting out for? Like, what is Danny doing? What is he waiting out for? I mean, these guys should have been fought these guys. And that's really my issue with it. And that's why everybody, for the public, this is why everybody jokes. I really believe that these two guys should have fought Errol Spence so long ago. And, you know, I would have probably had more respect for him. But the fact that they playing like duck, duck, goose, they like jumping over people, choosing the people they want, that's not cool, man. That's not boxing. And here you got a guy that's really 140 pounds saying, I mean, he's bigger. He like, yo, I'll come up here, I'll fight. This is my block. I'll come and fight you. You know, so, and I'm talking about Terrence Crawford. It's just a shame, man, that these guys are campaigning at welterweight so long, former title holders, that the only thing we could really talk about is, okay, well, which one of them are going to fight Errol Spence? Like, I could really care less about, I have my opinion about how the fight's going to go. I could care less because I'm like, all right, is the inevitable going to happen? Is Errol Spence going to unify these belts? Is he going to get to Terrence Crawford? That's all I need to know about the welterweight division. Other than that, there's no question that need to be asked. I mean, are there any questions that need to be answered? They're the only two questions that need to be answered. When are you going to fight Terrence Crawford. When are we going to unify the division? I mean, wouldn't you agree?
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said. I mean, I think that we're in such a weird situation with the welterweight division because there's a fork in the road that can go either direction. You got the Keith Thurman direction they can go into, or you can go into the direction of Errol Spence potentially fighting Mikey Garcia. And there's still Terrence Crawford out there in the mix. That's the crazy part about. Well, you notice we didn't even mention his name really in none of these fights. So you gotta hope that the winner of this fight, everything is kind of predicated on this Porter and Danny Garcia fight because this kind of like pushes everything forward. Because if they decide that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and wait for this Keith Thurman situation and be done with the whole Errol Spence thing, then what? What do you do if you Errol Spence? You just keep hanging out in the welterweight division? Or do we go to moves up to junior middleweight? You know what I mean? Like,
remember I said that? Remember I said that to Roberto years ago? I said, yo, I don't mean to cut you off, but remember I said to Roberto, I said, yo, he's going to move up. He's going to outgrow the division before anybody really fights him. He was like, nah, they're going to make him fight. I'm like, yo, everybody's going to move up, man. They're going to move up before Errol Spence fights him. Like, because at this point in time, who was there to fight?
It happened to Paul Williams. He moved up.
Well, yeah. I think their hope is that even with Spence beating Mikey, his name gets a little bigger. Where these guys are kind of, in a sense, not forced, but
right. I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think they know the winner of Danny and Porter. No doubt, I think they're runner-up to fight Errol Spence. So, I'm saying in the springtime or whatever, because I think what Thurman's going to do is he's going to have a filler fight or two, and he's going to fight whoever comes out of the clear there,
That's what I think, yeah. So
the thing is, man, is the one guy that's like kind of left out in the cold, man, is Bud, man, because
isn't that crazy?
Number one, he's older than all those guys.
Yes.
Close to, I want to, yeah.
30. He's 30.
30, or this year.
30.
So I'm trying to see what the 2-3 year plan is for him to get in meaningful fights, because at welterweight, look, he's not gonna fight Pacquiao.
That's over.
Amir Khan is like, oh, come on. And then
go back to your Pacquiao point. Do you believe that there's some people on IG that think that Bud is ducking Pacquiao?
That's just dumb.
I'm serious, man. I told you that.
That's just like.
Oh, you did tell me that. You did tell me that. Oh my goodness, you did.
I said you gotta stay away from them trolls on IG, man. All over there.
That look, man, to the point where even Pacquiao himself said like that'd be too much for him. Like, I think that's, and I think even Crawford kind of was like on the same tip. He's like, yo, like they tried to make the fight for me, but can't force him. And look, they know, man. Like Manny, he's like on this like a quasi farewell tour. They're saying he wants a big fight, but like really, like what's a big fight
right
for Manny Pacquiao that doesn't mean him losing?
Right. We got to go get another body like that body they dug up from Matisse. It almost looked like like fight scenes in the 80s. They make the noise. You just punch somebody and they fall right down. That's how that almost. That's how the
dummy flying.
Me and Raleigh always joke about like movies when they have like senseless shootouts. We always compare it to the A-Team. On the A-Team, like nobody ever gets shot.
Right. Nobody got 20 bullet shootout. Everybody's cool.
Even in the fight scene, if you watch it closely, a fist never touches anybody's face, but you hear all these sound effects. That's how Pacquiao fights gonna be.
Yeah.
But yeah, the welterweight division, man, it's
loaded though. Like it's a loaded division,
man. Because now with Mikey coming in there, it's granted it might be a one and done type of ordeal, but I think if he moves to 147 full, and it's not like because like here's another thing, man, like it ain't gonna be a catchweight because there's no way Spence can anything below like 140.
Barely making welterweight.
Barely making welterweight. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. I was talking to my cousin. And take this in the right context. I know Train is about to lose his beard when I say this. Has there been anyone more feared in boxing, like with Errol Spence? Like Mike Tyson wasn't even this fear. Like, has anybody like ducked Mike Tyson? Think about it. Like basically not mention his name. I'm being honest. Has anybody said, "Nah, I'm cool"? I remember back in the day, my pop used to be like, "Yo, Tom, nobody really wanted to fight George Foreman. Like everybody like ixnayed that. Like they wanted to jump over that. They didn't want any problems." I'm starting to see the same thing with Errol Spence. He might be more feared, and I'd say this tongue in cheek, but he might be more feared than Mike Tyson. Like nobody in the division wants to fight him.
Well,
except for Crawford
and apparently Mikey Garcia.
The only difference with Spence is that it'd be different. See, the difference with Mike Tyson was he became like
bigger than life.
Full name, man. You know, like where it was like he was just fighting. Granted, not the champions at that point weren't like the greatest, but whoever had to fight him fought him. But with Spence, it's like it's a lose-lose.
Right.
Because it's not a huge fight, and the toughest guy in the division.
Right.
That's why, like Danny, like think about this.
No, I got you.
Let's say the IBF champion wasn't Errol Spence, and it was Kell Brook. Do you think Danny or Sean Porter would have fought Kell Brook already?
Or Saddam Ali or somebody like that.
Ali? That's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
No, I
agree with Roberto.
You know, I think that's the thing with Spence. He is like shout out to Michael Myers this October. He's the boogeyman, yo. Like he's the boogeyman of that division because inevitably he's coming in your direction. There's nothing you can do about it but to like fight. Oh, I gotta go here to fight that guy, and then I gotta go here to fight that guy. But eventually you're gonna hit a wall. And whoever one of those guys is gonna eventually have to fight Spence. It's just for us, the way we're looking at it, it's like we want the Crawford fight, but man, it's like with Mikey now coming into the picture, and then it's like we don't even know when that's gonna happen, if at all, you know, which is like kind of concerning at the same time.
I think a better parallel without a doubt would be like Aaron Pryor. You know, remember
that's a good one.
It will be because Aaron Pryor was work. He was work. And, you know, we all know about him and Sugar Ray Leonard. Well, people younger don't know, but anybody that grew up during then, I mean, they were supposed to fight. Things fell apart. They're supposed to fight again. You know, it was a whole bunch of reasons why they didn't fight. You know, some people said Sugar Ray Leonard didn't want no parts of that. You know, like, I would rather fight some of these other guys for a more lucrative payday than fight a guy like Aaron Pryor, where I'm not going to make as much, and it's going to be a lot of work. And to Roberto's point, that's how I think it is with Errol Spence. That's why the Mikey Garcia thing is crazy to me, because it's not like he's getting a bag, like a heavy bag like that. Like when crazy it was when Khan fought Canelo, we're like, okay, this is crazy. And to your Mike Tyson point, this is crazy, but this is a lottery ticket for me. You know, when you fought Tyson, that was like winning. Remember they used to call it that was the lottery ticket. So dudes were getting knocked out. And I ain't saying that they threw the fights. I'm just saying they ain't have no problem with getting knocked out one round to go spend their millions of dollars. Like I forget what Terrell Biggs got to fight Mike Tyson, but it was somewhere in the $7 million range. And back then in the 80s, that was like a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So back to the Spence and Roberto's point is just like, it's one of these deals where strategically and business-wise, they're moving around him. You know, and I'll never forget, Roberto, remember I told you what Lou DiBella said about Paul Williams. When Paul Williams didn't have the belt no more, he said, and he had no problem with saying, he said, now I'm definitely not putting my fighter in the ring with him. Because now, not only do he said, I didn't want to fight him before. Now that I don't have to fight him, we're not fighting him. Like he was like honest about it. Like he don't have a belt. He's not that marketable. So we're moving on past him. That's how I feel like with Errol Spence. I think that I'm hoping that something happens where his name, where he gets to dictate a lot of these fights. But right now, business-wise, they're just strategically moving around him. And I know it's frustrating for fans because we want to see the best fights. We want to see this division unified, so on and so forth. But unfortunately, sometimes the business of boxing, it rears its ugly head. And I think that's what's going on with the Spence situation. Especially with Porter, Thurman, and Garcia. Like, those three are all in bed together. Pause, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think, Train, you had wanted me to talk about that whole thing with Corey today. I know y'all probably got some comic relief with that. so I'll give you some background. So Corey believes that, without doing predictions, and I'll just tell you how I feel, Corey believes that Danny Garcia is going to beat Sean Porter. And what just happened? He left?
Yeah, he might have. Yeah, he'll probably come back on.
All right. So, I don't know where you guys, where the conversation. I know he probably said something. So what did he say? Let me go back. So what did Corey say? What did Train say that Corey said?
I don't know. I wasn't a part of that conversation.
All right. So what happened was he just believes that Danny is just going to throw this left hook and just knock Sean Porter out.
Right. So,
and I'm like, listen, I have three names for you: Keith Thurman, Herrera, and Lamont Peterson. And I'm like, and when has Sean Porter ever been knocked out? And I said, have you ever seen anybody pressure Danny where he moved backwards? I said, no. And I said, I've seen Danny get outworked before. That's what those three fights happened. He was outworked. And I'm saying to him, Porter doesn't have to knock you out in order to win a fight. He could just outwork you. And I'm just saying that he thinks that he's going to counterpunch Porter. I don't think Porter's going to be in range for that hook. I think he's going to be in Danny's chest all night long. And I think that he's going to make Danny very uncomfortable. And I don't think Danny's going to be able to adjust because of that. Now, if Danny would have showed me something and that Herrera, Thurman, or maybe like even the Peterson fight, even though, those guys kind of boxed a little bit more, then I would be like, all right, cool. But I have never seen Danny, I've never seen Porter back up, and I've never seen Danny back up. But I know that Porter is going to be a more aggressive fighter. And I've seen Danny take lapses where he doesn't do anything. Am I right or wrong?
You think he's digressed like heavily since the Matisse fight?
I wouldn't say digress. I just think that his motivation isn't there, man. Because I
mean that too. It's like I think that's
yeah.
And he, it's weird, man. He kind of maybe it was a little bit in this press conference, but he kind of gives off the notion that it's like, yeah, he's made his money and he'd rather be a businessman than like a fighter, even though he was saying something different. But when I look at this fight, the thing I think Sean Porter probably has more to lose in this sense because of the fact that he's already had a few losses, like 2 or 3. Losing another one, like that's kind of gonna put him out of like serious contention. Now the thing with Danny though, I mean he lost to Thurman, which is technically his first loss. But look, we could argue he lost to Herrera and to Lamont Peterson. Like I think he lost both of those fights. But if he doesn't look good in this fight and he doesn't show anything different, or I want to see more something consistent where we could say like, wow, you know what, man, like maybe he could beat Thurman this time, or maybe maybe he could give Crawford a run for his money. So it's I just think about things and it's like I really wonder what if we've seen the best the best Danny Garcia we're gonna see already, and is like that enough to beat Sean Porter, he's gonna make it a physical fight. So I mean, I don't know, man. Like I think it's definitely a crossroads fight for both guys, man. I mean, to be honest with you. even though Danny's only got one loss, it's just the pecking order. He gets really put down like to the bottom of the totem pole. Probably even worse with Sean Porter, man. But I don't know, man. I mean, I think this fight should have happened already, but I guess, you know, we're getting it now. But I think the weird part about it is the fact that it's for the WBC welterweight title. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, is Uncle Al like
Uncle Al?
is he really helping these guys? You know, I mean, it does, you know, that comes into play as well, you know, but I just, to your point, I just get the feeling, man, that that hunger is not there, man. And I know with Porter, I've never seen Porter not press the issue or not come in hungry. Does that make sense?
No. You're right. You're right.
I've seen Danny go to Puerto Rico, and I'm like, yo, watch this cat. Yo, he gonna be good. And I seen him kind of like be, you know, just have an off night. Then I seen him against Peterson, and I'm like, you know what, man? Like, I love Philly, but he lost that fight. He was outworked.
Yeah.
And then I see him against Thurman, and it's funny because the one thing about, you know, you'll see about athletes, I can appreciate when someone said, you know what, like, I lost. You know, I look bad. I lost. Like, he still thinks he won that Thurman fight. And to me, I'm just like, yo, I don't even have you winning 5 rounds in that fight. Like, he said he won the 10th, 11th, and 12th round. Like, those rounds were pivotal. And I'm just like, see, there's a difference between asking and earning something. Like, he was asking for those rounds. He didn't earn those rounds. And to me, when you look at Porter earns stuff. Like, he comes out, he mows you, he wants you to know he's there. I've never seen Danny get headbutt, like anything crazy like that. You know, I think Danny had a gash on his head. Who did he fight that he got cut against?
Eric Morales?
Was it him?
That one of those fights, his eye was busted up. I think it was a Morales fight. It could be wrong.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, man, like, I just think that Porter's a lot more work. And Porter's been calling him out. It wasn't like Danny's been calling him out. Porter's been calling him out a whole lot. I just feel like Porter's just hungrier, man. And, you know, he's been chasing Keith Thurman, but wanting that. You know, Danny didn't even really did Danny really even want a rematch with Thurman after that? He like kind of like laid low.
Talked about it, but I mean, like, to your point, like, he was trying to make it seem like, you know, he was robbed and whatever, but it was one of those fights, man, where it wasn't like Keith Thurman was overly dominant, but like he clearly won. But that, I mean, when you really think about it, man, like, name me a fight since the Matisse fight that you can say, wow, man, that was a hell of a performance. Like Sammy Vargas, Rod Salka, like one of those guys. It's like, look at the level of opposition he's looking good against, and the level of opposition he's not looking good against. You know,
let me ask you this: has he ever fought anybody like Broner on his resume?
See, and I'm wondering why they never set that fight up. Because look, they all know each other and everything, but it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, he did fight. Didn't Danny fight? Well, it was an old Zab, but
it was an old Zab. But my question is, has he fought anybody like Broner? Like, you know, Zab was on his way out. Has he fought anybody like Broner? I'm just trying to, because we know he hasn't fought Kell Brook. He hasn't fought a Kell Brook.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't fight a lot of guys. I mean, the last
has he fought Andre Berto?
Berto, no. Well, remember,
he hasn't fought.
Supposed to fight.
Who?
Weren't Danny and Berto supposed to fight at one point?
When?
They were supposed to fight like last year or something, and then like it never happened.
Oh, I don't know. All I know is, like, honestly, like, I'm just being humble about it. Like, in my mind, I can't see Danny winning that fight because he makes no adjustments. He's too methodical. And the only reason he's methodical is if you kind of like have no activity. So like Thurman really got a lead on him. And you know what's funny in that fight? I forget who was commentating that fight. But I got to go back to that fight. Someone said that after the fight, if Thurman would have put his foot on the gas, he could have possibly put Danny down.
Possibly.
The first 3 punches he threw, he knocked Danny darn near half across the ring. Hurt him again in the second round, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think Danny just, again, like I think we've said this. I just don't think he doesn't look like a motivated fighter, you know. And in this fight with Porter, while Porter can be a sloppy fighter and doing, like, you know, off the top rope shoulder tackles, like you know, like running across the ropes, the flying forearm.
Right.
He manages to stay busy, you know. Like, even the Broner fight wasn't the prettiest fight, but he made Broner doesn't like activity. Danny doesn't really like activity either. Exactly. You know, it's like even in that Brandon Rios fight, while like he clearly won it, like when Brandon Rios was applying whatever pressure he was doing and throwing punches, like Danny don't like that. And what do you think Porter's gonna do, man? Like he's a workhorse. I mean, to give him that, but he is a rough fighter. I don't know how Danny's gonna respond to it. And again, man, like how much does Danny want it, man? Like you've been saying too. Like I just don't know how much he really wants. I mean, he's talking about his mansion in Miami and down here and everything, and it's like cool, but
he come in a press conference. He come in a press conference talking about some Danny Montana.
Yeah, man. So I don't know, man. I mean, look, I think it's a free fight on Fox. I mean, I'm gonna be watching it. I don't want to give it my prediction yet. I mean, we'll wait till like next month, or I guess, you know, whenever the week before. But
yeah, and that's not really my prediction, more or less. Than it's just I'm just putting some stuff out here that to let you guys know that this was the reason why Corey and I were having a disagreement, and this is my problem with Danny in general. Like I think he's, you know, I always use this. He just squanders opportunities, man, and like, you know, time and time again, where I felt like he should have fought Errol Spence. Or let's put the car in reverse. He should have fought Terrence Crawford at 140. He got out of there.
Yeah.
People forget about that, man. Terrence Crawford didn't. He rolled.
Like Pacquiao too.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, you know, these are opportunities.
Now he's saying he'd probably take that fight, but I'm like,
it's too late.
Yeah, like
it's too late. And that's why I said, like, I think the chicken's gonna come on the roost when it comes to fighting Porter, man. I think that basically he didn't, you know, got himself into a corner, man. And I think Porter, man, is going to, you know, really apply some pressure on him, man, and figuratively and literally speaking. And it's going to be up to Danny to make those adjustments because Porter not going to adjust.
Yeah, it's one way with him, man. You know, it's just if you could deal with it for 12 rounds, you know. So, yeah. and I just look at.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, like, even like when you look at Kell Brook when he fought Sean Porter, it was like, is Danny a better boxer than Kell Brook? As far as just being a real welterweight and doing like what he was able to do consistently in that fight, man. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like I just think with Danny, like this, without question, even more than the Thurman fight and the Matisse fight, is like the most important fight of his career, man. Because I mean, to me, it's like if you lose to Sean Porter, and that's no disrespect to him, your ceiling isn't that high as far as like who you're really gonna beat in that division, man. Because at this point, it's like I have a tough time seeing him beat Keith Thurman. And look, we don't know where Keith Thurman is yet, but Crawford and Spence for sure, no. But then like guys like Berto and Alexander, fine. But see, at that point, it's just those are paychecks, you know, like minimal paychecks. But it's kind of like weeding you out of like the people that want to have longevity in their career. And look, man, maybe Danny doesn't care for that, you know, like for all we know, you know, like maybe he just the light at the end of the tunnel, and he's just trying to just say, yo, like, you know, I want to fight, but we're gonna know soon enough whoever wins this fight or how this fight plays out, because the winner of the fight, man, doesn't have Like, you know,
it
ain't sunshine and rainbows where they're going, you know, from there.
Right, right. And that's the thing I'm saying. Like, you know, you can't escape, you know, the inevitable now. So and that's another thing I was saying. I think that Sean Porter is more willing to fight Spence, whatever that means, than Danny Garcia will be. I mean, do you get that impression or no?
I mean, I think I think Danny would still have the ability to say, "Oh, well, I'll fight this guy or that guy," where Sean Porter wouldn't have a lot of wiggle room to say, "Oh, well, you know, I'll have a lot of people come out for me in, like, you know, Southern California to fight here, you know, against such and such," where Danny could go to Philly or whatever and fight such and such after this fight and then fight somebody else, you know. So it's
who has the bigger name?
Danny by far. Danny.
Okay.
I mean, right. I mean, they go from Philly to Brooklyn to watch him fight. So, I mean, you got to give Danny that. I mean, I just think for the legitimacy as far as just like where he really stands amongst the people that are there, it's tough, man. Like, this fight's going to tell us where he's really at, man, as far as if you can even compete with those guys, let alone beat them, you know, like, which I don't think this thing is going to happen, but I don't know. That's September 8th, man. But trying to think anything else we didn't cover tonight. I mean, it's really summertime's like the low point, but like you know, where we opened the show with major blockbuster ahead, so to speak. So we're here, Mikey and Errol Spence Jr.
Bruno was fighting Devin Alexander on Saturday, and so was Kovalev fighting.
Right. Yeah, that's right. There is fights this weekend. There's the doubleheader on. Hold on, let me get my phone real quick.
Yeah, good.
On HBO. It's with Sergey Kovalev and Elir Alvarez and Dimitri Bivol and Isaac Chilemba. That's a doubleheader on HBO. The Devin Alexander Berto fight, that's on Fox. I completely forgot about that. So yeah, I mean, we do got some fights this weekend, but August is kind of shallow month. But I think really all of August, and I think they probably do this on purpose. I guess whoever sent up the fights. But I mean, look, man, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Canelo Triple G from this point on. I mean, it's going to lead into next month. So we'll be doing the preview show for that when that comes about. But beyond that, man, summer's almost wrapping up, man. My kid's about to go to school in 2 weeks, man. I can't believe it's already like
2 weeks. Yeah,
man. Yeah, we start early down here, man. The 14th, man.
Of August?
Yeah, man.
What?
Yeah, we start dumb early. You guys start like what? Like after September, man. Or
so
when Labor Day? After Labor Day.
So when do you get out of school?
Beginning of June. Like the first week of June, just done.
Dang.
Yeah, man. So 2 weeks, man. The 6 a.m. usual Monday to Friday schedule, man, begins. So
he going to number grades now, right?
Yeah, first grade.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's getting crazy, man. It's getting crazy. But he's like that's getting that little bit of extra sleep in the morning has been all right, man. But you know, that's how it's kind of like summer drawing out. But us dads, you know how it goes.
Yeah, it's a grind, man. It's a grind, man.
It's a grind, man. But
grind.
That's pretty much our show, man, this week. Appreciate R.O. Diggity making his first appearance. He'll be back soon. Next week.
I'll be back next week.
Yeah, son. Yeah, man. Because hey, look, like we said, you know, not a lot of fights coming on. I mean, we have the cards this weekend, but this whole Mikey Spence situation, we're gonna be keeping you updated with that on the FB page as well as on the Instagram at Guard Your Girl Boxing. Follow us. If you want hoodies, t-shirts, freshteesforyou.com.
Yeah, they're nice, man. Go get them, man.
Official, because winter is coming, man. I mean, it's the end of July for you Northerners. That's September rush and October, really. But Get the hoodies well prepared, man. But beyond that, man, at Guard Your Growth TV, we appreciate all the follows. Subscribe, hit the notification button for all the new shows, all new content, and we appreciate all the follows on Facebook as well. So until next week, man, like I said, follow us at Guard Your Growth Boxing on Instagram. I am Roberto Flack, as ROD, and shout out to Coltrane, and we'll be back. Peace.